isn't it? Apples and oranges. There's Ablett. Goes down towards half forward. Varco tracked by Morabito. Varco too nimble. Stokes, they're putting on a clinic now. 123 to 60. Inside the forward 50. Gutsy by Silvani. A name synonymous with courage.
Kicks to Johnson, the hardest in half back, and another Johnson rips it off him. Oh, look away, handball, Breen, and then Varco rolls it home. That's vintage Cats.
Well, you'd certainly be making sure you kept your hands down in this kind of situation if you're particularly if you're a Geelong player. No, they're all in control, but you wouldn't want to get yourself reported this very late stage. You know, it's been a fantastic hit out for Geelong. You know, as good as they've been tonight, I'm not sure for the first time in about 3 years I might tip against them next week.
Don't go early there. Give it a bit of thought.
Roger. Hey, James.
Cool heads required right now. Cats onto a fourth preliminary final in a row. Look, he's brilliant by John. Varco's played very well.
Ablett to Selwood. He's racking them up now 2 to 31. Selwood inside the forward 50. Well, Podsy Adley came from behind, but I think it's McFarlane's.
Man in front. Play on.
It's a good call by umpire McBurney. Now Duffield, awkward one for Johnson. He had to slide into that ball, created a problem for himself, just ripped away by Hawkins. Well done. Got it away to Stokes. He's been lively, as I said earlier. Ablett, not a good hand pass at the feet of Varco. Back to Hawkins. Hawkins to Stokes. If he can get away, he should kick a goal. Does and does. He's got 3.
You know, one of the extra pressures right at the moment, it's been a good hit out for Geelong, but has it been the kind of game you want in preparation to play against Collingwood, who just get so many numbers around the footy so often, and it always ends up being a really crowded, congested game that really tests your reflexes under pressure.
Yeah, it's a good point, Lee, but I think if you're going to play 4 weeks in a row, you want an easy one somewhere.
Yeah.
Stokes kicked 3 goals famously in that prelim final against Collingwood, didn't he? You know, 7.
7 it was.
Yep, and he's got 3 tonight, which equals his best in a final. So we're back to where we were in that famous match where it came down to the last kick, basically. Ablett, brilliant handball to Ling. And then Ling to full forward. Good to see McFarlane. Gee, Pod's clever. And then Chapman over the top. And then Bartel, not quite, to Broughton. I think Collingwood, Lee, you're saying you might not tip Geelong for the first time, but I reckon Collingwood will be bookmakers' favourites next Friday night.
Yeah, I think so. They've just been so consistently good, but certainly Geelong in good touch. They're all out there. They all seem to be fit and well.
So Main, lovely kick. And Pavlich, well, be lovely to go back and kick his 4th.
I mean, we look forward to the grand final, but next week's preliminary final will be between Geelong and Collingwood.
Well, everyone almost penciled that in as
contest to go to
as a grand final, but it's obviously once the Saints got over the line, it was never going to happen. She's a big crowd next Friday night, Bruce.
And there's some here. Well, more than 45. It was 98. I think they had more to the prelim than they did to the grand final that year. I think it was 98 and 97. Well, Pav's kicked 3. It's a beautiful kick, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's a magnificent kick. He's kicked 4. First final at the MCG for Pav, and well, it won't be his last, will it?
I think it's a great sign that he has signed for the next 4 years. He's obviously the captain of the club and has seen the future. The turnover that Fremantle, from a player point of view, have executed, particularly this year, but also dating back to last year, has been really great. And they're growing in confidence. Players like Main, De Boer. I've been really impressed with Fife, and Pav deserves to be there for the fruits.
It's interesting with Pavlich. Over the last 6 years, only Favola and Franklin have kicked more goals. That's outstanding because he spent a lot of time on the ball as well at various times in those 6 years, particularly early on in the 6.
Play on.
Now, interesting, I just made a little history. I was talking to Josh Kay, and he said that in answer to my question about whether a team has had 500 possessions in a final, he didn't know. Had no idea, he said. Well, at the present time, Geelong are up to 476, and the way they're going, just chipping it around here, they might get to 500. They've got just under 2 minutes to go, and Taylor's got the football.
Well, you only have to check Geelong's stats. They're the only team that's got any possibility of doing it the last couple of years.
I reckon they would have had a few disposals against Port Adelaide in the grand final.
Oh, well, see, you know more than Josh. I shouldn't say that because Josh will get offended, but there goes the kick down towards the attacking 50. Bartell lurking behind. Ottens will get the free. I think they're aware of this record. They're just chipping it around. They're coming at 500, Bruce.
So Ottens kicks to full forward. Well, and getting back Robertson. Gee, courageous there, the ball. Now Walters. So the ball in the Dockers' hands. 98,002 lead they got to that prelim final. Geelong and Collingwood, and that was the biggest crowd actually Nathan Buckley ever played in front of, and it was his last game.
Yeah, fantastic game too.
Monday. So we'll be back here next Friday night with something similar, you'd think, wouldn't you, in terms of crowd and the expectation and the build-up. Duffield kicks to full forward. Pav might get, well, 5. Could he possibly? McPhee and Morabito are down there. Wojcinski so good early tonight. Held up. Who do you think you'll be picking, Dennis? Collingwood or Geelong?
I think you've got to have Collingwood. I think they're the best side I've seen this season, but Geelong have got the best people, if that makes sense.
Yep. When you write them down on paper, they look the best.
That's right. Probably in the future about 7 Hall of Famers. But that will count for nothing next week, the way Collingwood play their football at the moment. Wojcinski taken down. Clock continues to run. Eventually the umpire calls time. So we're down to the last 30 seconds of Fremantle's season. All honours with Geelong tonight. They've blitzed them, but I reckon over summer, after the disappointment fades for Fremantle, a few of these players and the coaching staff will look back very fondly on what they've achieved against the odds in 2010.
Should give them hope, shouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope's a really important thing that we've got a level within us that enables us to beat good sides. They beat Geelong early in the season. Today is just really a hiccup.
Always handy for a good side too if they play interstate, particularly with Perth. I think if they can win enough games in Perth, they're almost as short of a top 4 finish.
Just 6 wins in the last 2 seasons, 14th place both of them. So it has been a mighty mountain in their prime this year.
No doubt.
But not tonight, and really from the gun it was. After Selwood's goal, a one-horse race for much of the night. But a lot to be learned, eh? And the Cats to a 4th prelim final in a row.